Well, it looks like Marvel and Sony's overall plans for Spider-Man in the MCU have been revealed. Now, keep in mind, Spider-Man Brand New Day is filming right now, and it really does look like it's going to be an incredible movie. But remember, this is the first movie of a new trilogy, and Marvel and Sony seemingly already have a lot of plans for their next two films, including who the villains are going to be. And it looks like Kingpin is indeed going to be built up as a big bad, and it looks like one of the post-credit scenes for Spider-Man Brand New Day might show us this. And that's in just one post-credit scene, but we're going to talk about what the two post-credit scenes for Spider-Man Brand New Day are rumored to be in this video. We also have a really interesting report that the Venom symbiote that currently exists in the MCU is causing problems for the universes because it is from a different universe. We'll break it all down in this video. Now, with so many villains being in Spider-Man Brand New Day, a lot of people have been throwing out the name Kingpin as far as who the main villain might possibly be. Because although a lot of villains are already confirmed for this movie, we don't actually have a main villain yet. And while it seems like Kingpin isn't going to be the main villain of this, it does seem like he could be behind a lot of other villains that are going to appear in Spider-Man Brand New Day. So for one of the post-credit scenes, it looks like Marvel and Sony might tease Kingpin. According to insider Alex Perez from thecosmiccircus.com, Marvel's plan is for Kingpin to fight against Spider-Man further down the line. Even better, that storyline could be teased in the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Brand New Day. And if we think about everything that has happened so far in Daredevil Born Again, that's going to happen in Season 2 and in Season 3 because Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox have basically said that, yeah, there's going to be a Season 3. If we think about all of those events where Kingpin is in a major position of power in New York City where Spider-Man is, it makes a ton of sense for them to eventually cross paths. And Marvel has already been setting up Kingpin to be a big bad of the street side of the MCU. At this point, we've had him in many different projects. We've had him in Hawkeye, in Echo, in Daredevil Born Again. And let's not forget that Peter Parker / Spider-Man did meet Matt Murdock. This is something that Marvel Studios and Sony want to go towards, the story of Kingpin and Spider-Man. However, the really cool thing is it's not just going to be Kingpin that they're going to build up towards. Yes, he's going to be pretty big, but there are also some other pretty big villains that Marvel and Sony are already planning to build up to, according to some new reports. And these reports are also coming from Alex Perez at thecosmiccircus.com. Now, in case you missed this, he did state the idea behind the multiple side villains that we're seeing reported by multiple scoopers isn't because scoopers are confused. A good majority of those villains being reported are meant to be a part of an opening montage similar to the Fantastic Four First Steps, where we would see Spider-Man take on these villains over the years since No Way Home. So that explains why we're hearing so many different reports about so many different villains being in Spider-Man No Way Home. They're going to do a little montage in the beginning of the film. He also added, "We'll see how with each passing battle, Peter would upgrade his suit, reaching the one we see in Brand New Day." So that's going to be super cool. We're going to see many villains during that scene. And as far as who Marvel and Sony have planned for the rest of his trilogy, the names that are being thrown out right now are Kingpin, Venom, Tombstone, Hammerhead, and Prowler. And I gotta say, I think Prowler would be really interesting because they already teased him in Spider-Man Homecoming with Childish Gambino. We then got another tease of him becoming the Prowler in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. But it sure does seem like, hearing all of these different reports and hearing that they do eventually want to build to Kingpin and Venom and these other villains, it sounds like they might be building to a real Sinister Six. We know that Sony has been wanting to do a Sinister Six project for a while, but now that Spider-Man is in the MCU, and we basically have a fresh start with Spider-Man Brand New Day plus the reset coming after Secret Wars, it kind of seems like the perfect time to pick it back up and eventually build to a Sinister Six project where Kingpin could be at the head. And speaking of the Venom symbiote, Alex Perez did add a very interesting update about the symbiote. He states, "The symbiote does belong to another universe, so the more time it spends on Earth 616, the more the boundaries between the universes cause friction against each other until they break." So this might actually imply that we could get another crossover with Tom Hardy's Venom, since it's from his universe and it is a piece of his Venom symbiote. Plus, not to mention, they did tease at the end of Venom: The Last Dance that the symbiote was indeed still alive. And I think it would be really unfortunate if Tom Hardy's Venom didn't get to appear in Doomsday or Secret Wars. I think it would be a pretty big missed opportunity. But this has some serious implications for Avengers Doomsday. We know incursions are obviously going to play a big role in the plot of Avengers Doomsday, but we've also been hearing that the main Earth 616 universe is actually going to be on a collision course with the X-Men universe. And I don't think that the Venom universe and the X-Men universe are the same at all. So this report implies that Earth 616 could be on a collision course with multiple different universes, which to me just points to the fact that, as we've been expecting, everything is going to be destroyed. The entire multiverse. And as we've been talking about, that needs to happen because we have to get to Battleworld. It's all leading to Battleworld in Avengers Secret Wars, with God Emperor Doom being the ruler over it. And we've already seen leaked concept art of that exact scene. Dr. Doom on his throne, to his side, Vanessa Kirby, Sue Storm, and Franklin Richards, and to his other side, Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange, who we're hearing and who I am theorizing will actually join Dr. Doom in Avengers Doomsday. We've also been hearing some reports from some other insiders that that is going to happen as well, but we'll have to wait and see on that. Now, as far as the other post-credit scene for Spider-Man Brand New Day goes, we've been hearing lots of rumors recently that it's going to, of course, be a Dr. Doom post-credit scene. And considering that this is the last movie coming out before Avengers Doomsday, I kind of think that this has to happen. And I think Marvel knows this as well, because the last two post-credit scenes that we got, the Thunderbolts post-credit scene with the Fantastic Four ship coming to our universe, and then the Fantastic Four's post-credit scene, spoiler alert, showed us Dr. Doom. So Marvel knows that they have to give us some information about Doomsday and some info about Doom, even if that's just teasing us with what he could possibly look like. Because as everybody knows, there's not been nearly as much buildup for Doom as there was with Thanos, which of course makes sense because originally Marvel was building up to Kang. And Marvel does seemingly have kind of a solution to that original buildup to Kang. They're going to use some of that to kind of build up Doom. We've heard reports that Doom is actually pretty pissed off at Kang for creating the TVA and not letting the multiverse exist. And perhaps one of the biggest reports that we've heard recently is that Dr. Doom is going through the multiverse trying to basically kill people who have caused incursions. That's why we hear he is going after Steve Rogers. And if we think about everything that happened in Spider-Man No Way Home, it is very possible that Peter Parker could be the cause for an upcoming incursion, especially because one basically did kind of start to happen in Spider-Man No Way Home. So if these reports are true, Doom is going after people who have caused problems for the universe, it would make sense that he would go after Peter Parker considering everything that just happened in No Way Home. So it makes absolute total sense for Doom to show up in one of the post-credit scenes for Spider-Man Brand New Day. It also makes sense for Kingpin to show up in one as well if they really are building towards him, which it sounds like they are. But the movie right after Brand New Day is Avengers Doomsday, so it's almost pretty much guaranteed that we do get some type of Doom post-credit scene. But if these are our two post-credit scenes, and if the Venom symbiote is kind of affecting Earth 616, let me know how you would feel about all of that in the comments down below. And please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Marvel and Spider-Man videos. You can also find us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.